So today's topic, I want to discuss what pace should you run at. It all really comes down to what is your objective? How fast are you planning on running on your easy days? So, or if you're preparing for a track session or a tempo run, what pace should you run at? This is a common question that I get often asked, and over the years, it's through trial and error that I got it right. But if you're planning on going out and just running easy, the pace you should be running at, especially if you're focusing on heart rate monitor training, which I'm a big believer in. Some of the world's top distance coaches and some world-class athletes that I've trained with over the years, sub 4-minute milers, sub 2:10 marathoners, all took heart rate monitor training very, very seriously. So when I think about what pace you should run at, I go back to what I was taught when I was competing at Malone University under Jack Hazen. Jack Hazen is one of the world's top coaches. Our training philosophy at Malone was revolved around Dr. Joe Vihill's training philosophy as well, which all revolved highly around heart rate monitor training. So the pace you should be running at, if you're running at an easy, relaxed, aerobic effort, should be anywhere from about 130 beats per minute to 150 beats per minute. Now, heart rate monitor training is also going to be dependent on your age as well. So somebody that's running at 140 beats per minute might be running at like 80% of their maximum heart rate, as opposed to somebody that's younger, maybe in their early 20s, that's running at 140 beats per minute, that might only be running around 55 to 60% of their maximum heart rate. So when I was at my fittest running, just prior to breaking 2 hours and 20 minutes for the marathon, I would do my long runs at 160 beats per minute, which was around 85% of my maximum heart rate. Now, I talk about doing faster, varied pace long runs all the time in past videos and blog posts on RunDreamAchieve.com. I teach it in the running courses that I've created, as well as the training plans. All of it's revolved around heart rate monitor training. So what pace you should run at is going to be dependent on what your objective is for your particular workout. If you're doing tempo runs should be conducted at around 88 to around 93% of your maximum heart rate. So it's going to vary again from athlete to athlete. But if you're running at, if you're doing your tempo runs, you should be doing that right around your anaerobic threshold. So that's the point where lactic acid starts to build up in your muscle tissue. You should be running at that effort right around anywhere from 165 beats per minute to about 173 beats per minute. Anything above 173 beats per minute up to your maximum heart rate, like if you're doing a track session, if you're wearing I wouldn't recommend wearing a heart rate monitor while you're doing repeat miles on the track or repeat 800s or repeat 200s. You're at just about maximum heart rate running at those efforts. So when you're doing a track session, the pace you should be running at is really going to be based off of the time splits that you're aiming on running at. So if your goal is to do, say, 16 200 meters and your plan is to run those at like 40 seconds per rep at about two minutes rest between each rep when you're not really very fit, and then you start when you get really fit, you're going to give yourself much less rest and gradually aim to speed up on those intervals. Track sessions are going to be focused mainly on the splits you're aiming on hitting those intervals in. So if you're going to wear a heart rate monitor in terms of heart rate monitor training, focus on pace, especially on tempo runs, faster pace long runs. If you're doing tempo runs, like I said, your heart rate should be around anywhere 165 beats per minute to around 173 beats per minute. That was really the same heart rate zone that I focused on when I was training heavily for my marathons. And even to this day, I'm just starting my build up for a marathon that I'm planning on running sometime this year. Again, I haven't ran a marathon since 2013 at the California International Marathon. I ran 2:32:57 when I was 37 years old. So I'm 45 now. So it's been quite a long time since I've ran a marathon. But easy days, like I said, 130 to 150 beats per minute. Anything below 120 beats per minute, like you're going to be just jogging. You're basically just burning sugars. You're not really burning fat unless you get above right around 130 beats per minute. You want to be at least at 130 beats per minute to be burning fat. Anything below that, you're going to be, yes, you're still going to be building endurance, but you're burning more sugars than you are fat. So you want to get in that fat burning zone when you're wearing a heart rate monitor. So again, what pace you should run at. If you're running easy, 130 beats per minute. If you're running more moderate types efforts, not quite at your anaerobic threshold, it should be anywhere from around 150 to 160 beats per minute. And that can, like I said, it can vary from athlete to athlete. Some athletes have very low heart rates. Just keep in mind when you're training with heart rate monitor training, you don't want to speed up going downhill because your heart rate's going to drop as you're going downhill. And as you're running uphill, your heart rate is going to skyrocket wearing a heart rate monitor. So just focus on the effort when you're moving up the hill. Don't speed up or don't slow down even going up a hill just because your heart rate's going much higher. That's what it's supposed to do. You're going up a hill, but just focus on maintaining your effort when you're going up the hill. And when you start going down the hills wearing a heart rate monitor, you will notice your heart rate is going to go much it's going to go down as you're going down the hills. So don't speed up just because of that. Just maintain your effort as you're going up or down the hills. Once you get on the flat sections, it's going to even back out. Again, as you're focusing on your tempo runs, again, that's training at your anaerobic threshold. You do want to focus on lengthening out the duration of your anaerobic threshold runs, especially if you're training for 10K to half marathon to marathon or ultra marathons. You want to get to a point where you're spending a longer period of time training at that particular effort, because that is the effort you are going to be, right around the effort you're going to be racing at when you race. If you're spending too many of your weekly volumes running too aerobically, running much slower than goal race pace, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to sustain that pace in the race. So again, what pace you should run at, again, you do need to focus on recovery, so make sure you're jogging on easy days. If it's an easy day, you don't necessarily even need to wear a heart rate monitor. Just make sure you are jogging. Okay, I've watched sub 210 marathoners I've trained with that could go out and run a marathon at 4:57 mile pace, go out and jog 9 to 10 minute mile pace on their easy days. So if these athletes can do that, so can you and I. Okay, so you have to follow the same mindset, the same practices that athletes that are running at world-class levels are doing. You know, success leaves clues. These athletes jog on their easy days, but their hard days are extremely hard. They are very difficult. You know, but that's definitely what I want you thinking about in terms of preparing for your longer races. Get beyond just doing 3 to 4 mile tempo runs. If you're training for a marathon or training for a half marathon, start focusing on 7 to 12 miles in length, and also know you're not going to just immediately start doing 7 to 12 mile tempo runs in the first couple weeks of a marathon buildup. You have to start around 3 to 4 miles, spend about 3 to 4 weeks at that particular duration until your body adapts to that duration and that effort. And then, and only then, once you've adapted to that, then start focusing on doing longer tempo runs. As you get fitter, your heart's not going to have to work as hard, so you are going to be able to run farther, because again, you're building up that lactate tolerance and being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. But you have to pay attention to the paces that you're running on each one of your workouts. Okay, so when you're doing longer tempo runs or the varied pace long runs I talk about, those hard runs, those long, hard, fast, long runs are probably the hardest workout you're going to do. Training under the RunDreamAchieve training philosophy. I mean, this is, over all the years that I was training for marathons, without question, the most difficult workout I did was a long run, because you're spending such a long period of time running at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate, and then you're varying up the paces. So, you may do for example, you may do an 18 miler where you're doing the 2 mile jog warm up, 14 miles at 160 beats per minute, which again is around 85% of your maximum heart rate. Depending on your age, it's going to vary, but that's again a very steady, hard, not so anaerobic that you can't sustain it, but it's definitely an aggressive pace. And then do like a 1 mile jog and then 1 mile all out at the end. So again, very pace. That's just one example, and there's many different ways that you can do the very pace long runs. But make sure that you're giving yourself sufficient time to recover after doing these types of workouts. Preferably 48 hours of easy jogging those 2 days following that harder varied pace long run. It's going to take you about 2 days to recover from that type of effort, and always alternate the following week with a nice, easy, relaxed long run. So again, that you're recovering from the hard anaerobic track workouts, road sessions you're doing. So I hope this video is helpful in terms of knowing what pace to run at, especially if you're focusing on heart rate monitor training. I'm a big Garmin buff, so the Garmin 245 is the watch that I wear. You can check the link below this video if you want to check that out on Amazon, but it's one of the top sports watches out there that I recommend for sure. But again, just to wrap up, easy running in terms of pace you should run at. Easy running, 130 to 150 beats per minute. Moderate should be anywhere from like about 150 to 160, just above 160, but nothing higher than really 163, around that range. You start focusing on anaerobic threshold tempo type running right once you get to around 165 to 173 to 174 beats per minute, right around that range. So again, staying in that sweet spot, focusing on that effort while you're doing your tempo runs will help you get the highest return on your investment. But you also got to focus on jogging on those easy days after these workouts are done, because your benefits are going to come from the rest. They're not coming from the workout. The workout, once you're done, your body's about 2 to 3 times weaker than it was when you first started. So pay attention to your easy days, hydrate well before, during, and after your runs, get plenty of sleep, mentally train for these workouts you're doing, and then the races you're going after. You have to see it in the mind first before it becomes a reality. So I hope this video is helpful for you. If you have any questions or concerns, leave me a comment below the video. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell icon and the subscribe button so when I make new videos, you'll be notified of it. And I wish you guys all the best, and definitely a happy new year to all of you. I wish you all the best in 2022, and I look forward to hearing about your new personal best.